That's why you're back on.
All right, we're going to get started. Good evening. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, town hall, and sending to the officially designated newspapers indicating that the meeting would take place at the community center at 6:30 p.m. on this date. The fire exits are located in the far right corner at the back and to my immediate left in front. Roll call.
Councilman Agliata.
Here.
Councilman Haynes.
Here.
Councilman Hurley.
Here.
Councilman McDonald.
Here.
Councilman Slockbower.
Here.
Council President Burnside.
Here.
Please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council reports, Councilman Slockbower.
Evening, Mayor, Council, Borough residents. My report will be very short tonight. Tonight, to discuss, we had an ordinance meeting on Tuesday. We're discussing about a event that happens in town. Contractors come to work in town, they dig up the road, and we're trying to correct them, well, to save our roads. So we've got a pretty intense ordinance we put together, which helps us, protects our roads, protects our residents. So you'll see it on the agenda tonight. The other one we're still working on, but having a little problem getting things together properly, is the lithium batteries. And we're stumbling a little bit because we want this to be put out the first time and one time only. We want it to be correct. The other thing is also the environmental committee will be meeting. It's an early date, but it's July 22nd. Just let everybody know it's coming up. I'll bring it up next month, but here we are, we're getting ready for it. That's my report, Mayor, thank you.
So when you say lithium battery, you're talking storage, you're talking...
Storage, correct. No repairs. Charging.
Charging, okay.
Yeah.
So charging stations and different, or just, or is that all part of?
It's basically all part of the ordinance, and it comes from the number of fires that these mobility devices have created in hallways, in common spaces, in multi-family dwellings. And so with Councilman Slockbower and myself and Councilman Agliata and our attorney Joe Bell have been looking at different ordinances, but basically because of the proliferation of the number of these units and the number of fires that many communities have found for the source, we're trying to really focus in on a solid ordinance that we can enforce.
Okay.
But also, Mayor, the reason being because lithium batteries actually gas off poisonous gases. And they don't just burn, they explode. So we're trying to protect our residents for this problem. It's brought to us with the fire marshal. It's a good grounds to have this looked at.
Great.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report of Councilman Slockbower?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Hurley?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, and our members of the public. Just a real quick update, folks. I was with Councilman Slockbower and our attorney, Mr. Bell, and Ms. Cuspilich, working on the ordinance as of this Tuesday afternoon. So making a lot of progress, and many thanks to all the hours of endeavor that everybody's been putting into this. The road opening one is very important because that's a critical ingredient for our infrastructure, particularly when we start to pave roads, we invest in our roads, and then all of a sudden people are coming through, they cut them open, and within a year they're in need of repair again. So great job on that ordinance. Just some things about attendance at some meetings. Councilman Haynes and myself attended the Morris County League of Municipalities meeting a week ago Tuesday. Very interesting meeting. Keynote speaker talked about the status of commercial properties in Morris County. Also dovetailed in with that, how commercial properties and fourth round obligations for affordable housing have been used very creatively and attractively to really build new types of these mini communities. Interesting factoid, and then I'll just move on. Morris County is the 8th largest and most attractive commercial property in the country. So when you think about the entire United States, Morris County we're in the top 10 of high ranking, what they call these trophy properties, where they attract a lot of folks with, all different demographics. They look at all different skill sets, different levels of education, but they command used square footages for rental purposes. But they tend to stay. So as a lot of these communities, Florham Park, Morristown, Mount Olive, have all of these legacy buildings that were constructed back in the 70s and 80s that really are now really unattractive. The gentleman doing the presentation gave some really nice examples of what they've done with some of those properties. So anyway, thought it was a very worthwhile time to invest to hear about that. And finally, just Historical Museum will be open this Sunday, 9 to 1, and after that, as we do each year, we'll be on hiatus from July and August for, we'll go through our annual maintenance and refresh all of the exhibits. So, that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report of Councilman Hurley.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. Councilman Agliata.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Nothing new to report from the last Board of Health meeting, other than to say we had to reschedule the next Board of Health meeting for July 15th, 6:30 at the Community Center. And that's my report for tonight.
Thanks. Motion to accept the report of Councilman Agliata.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Councilman Haynes.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council members, and our public. DPW report. Director Hopler is working with our tree contractor to get some work scheduled around town. A couple dead trees that are going to be removed. One is at Park Lake, the other will be at Jackson Avenue. Also, he met with the knotweed contractor to discuss how to proceed with the knotweed. Apparently, knotweed cannot be cut until late July, mid-August, so we're getting in that time frame. And once it is cut, he is going to also hire somebody to do an application of treatment for August. They are also finishing up basin repairs and working to get on the co-op list for our road resurfacing projects. Let's see. Also, the vendor that's going to be doing the spraying of the knotweed is going to give us some literature that we can give out to local residents. Billy will also be meeting with the contractor to go over the annual roadside and sidewalk weed spraying in the next 2 weeks. Banners and flags probably will come down sometime in mid-July, just like they did last year. They will go up right before Veterans Day. That's my follow-up on Councilman Hurley. The League of Municipality meeting was very good. The gentleman was, I forget his name, I think it was Scott someone from CBRE, but very interesting to hear, how things are going with the vacancy and how much commercial property there is that, like Councilman Hurley said, is considered trophy properties. It was really nice to see a couple of projects that I'm actually working on. He did highlight, which was kind of pretty cool. I have a big job going down at Berkeley Heights where a company called the Comet Corporation is basically building a mini city where you will not have to leave. You'll have a bowling alley, there'll be a taqueria, there'll be a food store. So, everything you need, there's going to be a park, recreation facility, so everything you need is going to be right there. Apparently, that's what the younger people are looking for now. Board of Ed meeting, I did attend the June 19th meeting, which was last week. To be quite honest, the financial picture for the board is not pretty at all. They're using the capital reserves that they have to put into the fund balance for this current year, which was approved by the Morris County Superintendent of Schools. Due to the shortfall, unfortunately, they will be downsizing a couple of positions at the school. I believe it's 3 total, one of which is going to get hired back, I believe, as a second grade teacher. So they're unfortunately going to have to lose a couple positions. The school has also reached out to a few financial institutions to talk about a floating bond. Speaking of the budget, superintendent and the board president will be here on July 10th to present the budget for the 25-26 year. And I believe that is my report.
Motion to accept the report of Councilman Haynes.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman McDonald.
Good evening, everybody. A report from our Parks and Rec Director, Rob O'Connor. He's currently meeting with vendors to for quotes to replace the fencing at Park Lake along Academy and also repair damaged fence by the dam. Park Sharks started swim season at Lake tonight. Director is scheduling summer field event rentals. Also, he's met with the town engineer to begin discussions on the Memorial Park hockey rink renovation. Also, he'd like to remind fishermen to kindly make sure to pick up lures and fishing lines left around the lakes, as it can be harmful to wildlife and residents as well. Also, the rec committee has decided to take off the summer, well deserved. They've been working hard. They're going to reconvene in September in preparation for the spectacular in October. And that is my report.
Thanks. Motion to accept the report of Councilman McDonald.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
Council President Burnside.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. The library board met on May 21st for their monthly meeting. Again, we have such a busy little library. It's incredible. The numbers shock me every month. Circulation in the month of May at the library was 1,770 items. Our library sent out 683 items through the main system to other libraries and received 513 back from other places. There were amazing programs that went on in May, and I would encourage everyone to check out the summer programs. There are summer reading programs for all ages where registration just began on June 16th. There's a nice adult program where you might win some things for reading a certain number of pages. So everybody start reading and sign up at the library. I also just want to remind everyone that the Family Festival with the best fireworks around is July 12th. And we will have National Night Out coming up on Tuesday, August 5th. That's it.
Great, thank you. Motion to accept the report of Council President Burnside.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Mr. Attorney.
Good evening. I think anything I had to say was covered by Mr. Slockbower and some of the other reports regarding the ordinances, so I will leave it at that.
Motion to accept the report of.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? For the mayor, some things I wanted to follow up on. First, regarding the bathrooms. I've been working with the rec director to continue to assess the facility bathrooms along with the rec activity directors to ensure all is in alignment moving forward. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that. That's sort of an ongoing process at the moment. As far as Park Lake bathrooms, I was there during the week. I guess I realized my key works there, so I was able to open them, but they're in no condition to be opened at the moment. I know they're having some plumbing issues, as well as there's some sanitary cleaning that needs to be done with those, so there's no timeline on opening those. And and something else with the Historical Committee Museum down at Donatoni. I know, a little history lesson. I know some of us know this. So the Donatoni property used to be a wood mill, lumber yard, run by the Donatonis. And about 40 years ago, you know, they had a fire which kind of destroyed the whole property. I can't remember exactly the timing, whether it was late 1990s, early 2000s, when we had gotten possession of the Donatoni property. We had, I think, through a rec grant, whereas the fields were built. But also the building that is known now as the museum was actually the office for the lumberyard. Part of the stipulation, as the property was being transferred to the borough, that building would be used as a museum. And, you know, part of that, with that, I think to preserve, you know, Rockaway Borough history, as well as, I believe, the Donatoni history also, you know, with that building. But one of the drivers of all that was the late Councilwoman Joyce Canigal, who was very strong in advocating, you know, for the museum, getting the museum in place. And I think a number of rec directors years ago tried to make an office in that building, and she was kind of shooed away because that was not the intention of that. But that's how all this originated, with the borough leasing back at, I guess, $1, you know, a year to be used as a museum. But, you know, the historical committee is certainly the overseer and guardian of everything Rockaway Borough history and, you know, the artifacts. And I think it's a very important part of Rockaway Borough, the museum and the historical committee. So I want to continue to thank you for all the efforts that go into that. Let's see. So another, two other things regarding local businesses. Starbucks is having their grand opening, or their official grand opening, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So please stop by if you're available. And a quick update on Wendy's. I know they've been having back and forth with JCP&L and DOT, but I believe there's a plan in place to move back. I think they're waiting for electricity to the building, but there were some hiccups in the road which kind of delayed that a little bit, but I know they're working through it. If you see it, there's already traffic lights put into place on the corner of Franklin and actually in front of the Wendy's, so it is progressing. So, and I need a quick closed session for personnel. Motion to accept the report of the mayor?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Report of administrator?
Good evening, everyone. The only thing I have this evening, I just want to give an update for the Jackson Ave Riverbank. We submitted our application to DEP for the permits that we will need from them, and they had wrote back to the engineer asking for some updated information. We responded to that, and they it is back now in DEP's hands and just waiting for the permits to be approved.
Great.
That's all I have.
Motion to accept the report of the administrator?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Report of clerk?
I have no report.
Resolutions, consent agenda. 103-25, accept the resignation of the public works laborer. 104-25, approve ABC liquor license renewals. 105-25, approve special event permit application, Rockaway Borough Fire Department. 106-25, authorize escrow agreement for 2 Church Street. 107-25, creating and implementing a long-range plan to address drainage issues. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve resolutions as printed in the consent agenda, commencing with 103-25, all through and inclusive of 107-25.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Agliata?
Yes.
Councilman Haynes?
Yes.
Councilman Hurley?
Yes.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes.
Councilman Slockbower?
Yes.
Councilman President?
Yes.
For the ordinance for introduction, 25-15, amending chapter 217, streets and sidewalks, article 3, excavations. This is Councilman Slockbower mentioned, this ordinance establishes requirements for initial escrow deposits to accompany street opening applications, authorizes the Director of Public Works and Borough Engineer to determine when zoning officer review is necessary, and updates language throughout the ordinance for clarity and consistency. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Agliata?
Yes.
Councilman Haynes?
Yes.
Councilman Hurley?
Yes.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes.
Councilman Slockbower?
Yes.
Council President Burnside?
Yes.
Thanks. One ordinance for hearing and adoption, 25-14, amending section 88-6 of the Code of the Borough of Rockaway. This ordinance addresses the Fair Housing Act requirements and uniform housing affordability controls to ensure compliance with the borough's affordable housing obligations. Have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
For this ordinance only, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Hearing none, close the meeting to the public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Agliata?
Yes.
Councilman Haynes?
Yes.
Councilman Hurley?
Yes.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes.
Councilman Slockbower?
Yes.
Council President Burnside?
Yes.
In accordance with Resolution 156-20, establishing rules of conduct and decorum for public meetings, please note the following. Please move up to the podium and state for the record your name before addressing mayor and council. All comments shall be addressed directly to the mayor or to whoever is presiding over the meeting. Once comments are received, the mayor may redirect questioning to other members of council. I will not address matters of personnel. All public comments, questions, and remarks will be limited to 5 minutes within a single turn at the podium. I'd like to open the meeting to the public.
Thank you. Hello, Casey Clark. Sorry. Hello, Casey Clark, 66 West Bank Street. Thank you for the updates. I had a question about resolution 10425, the liquor licenses. I noticed that the only one that's not on there from last year is Shenanigans. Now I know that Shenanigans hasn't been open for a long time, so it was more of a question of what happens to that license if they don't renew for this year.
The Shenanigans license.
I think that, honestly, that is a decision made by the state. There are things that have to be addressed before that license can be renewed.
Okay, but so they still have it, I guess?
It's not, at this
It's not-
point, it isn't being renewed at this point, but it is,
Okay.
I guess we'll say, a limbo right now, waiting for them to address something.
Are there any limits in the borough on how many liquor licenses you can have?
Yes, there's only a limited amount of liquor licenses that the borough does have. And it's a state thing where that's the way they have it, you know. And every town is subject that way.
Okay, thank you. And then I saw resolution 10625, doing a redevelopers agreement or something with 2 Church Street. So that's the old municipal building,
The police station.
old police station?
It is, it's actually still a jail in there. It's you know, the old jail is still there. But what that is for, it's just to that building only. Every other house on Church Street has residential on the first floor. It's just allowing him to, if he wants options to do something with that building on the first floor, residential wise, he will have
Okay.
have enough to do it.
And residential wise. Okay, because it's currently a design firm, Peter.
He's an architect.
Yeah. Okay. And then I wanted to touch upon what Mr. Haynes had said about the Board of Ed meeting, and sort of reiterate too that the finances are in a really bad spot. I've mentioned this before here in terms of a relationship and stuff like that with them, and they were the most candid at that meeting about what's been going on with the finances and their business administrator. So I think maintaining that close relationship is critical, because it's really bad.
So it'll be good that, as Councilman Haynes mentioned, that they'll be here on the July 10th.
Yeah, they talked about the business administrator being also the treasurer and not filing finance reports for months, so I think it'd be good. Anyway, and then you mentioned Park Lake and some fencing repairs. Does that include anything with the beach? I know you were looking to shorten it.
So that's something separate, but the fencing, certainly when the tree came down, ruined the fence.
Yeah,
But we already
yeah.
had in the budget to replace that whole section of fencing along the roadway there. So
Okay.
instead of just doing patchwork for that one section, we are looking to move forward with fixing the fence on the whole section of fence.
Okay. Is there any timing on when you're gonna make some updates to the beach?
That's something that we're working with. It's on schedule. As far as timing, I don't have anything specific for you.
Okay. And then you mentioned the bathrooms at Dartonian. I appreciate the context and the history on that building and stuff. But you mentioned the bathrooms. Is there a plan to open those, the ones that are underneath?
Well, that's the meetings that we're gonna have with the
Oh, okay.
activity directors, to
Okay.
make sure, whether it's soccer, baseball, or whatever else is, that all the activity directors.
All the leads and stuff.
All the leads, so they can communicate that down, just to make sure they're in agreement with everything that needs to be done.
No, that's really good. I mean, there's got to be rules and stuff. If people wreck the bathrooms, then they should be locked, for sure. And then one last question. Property maintenance is going to be under the borough's purview now versus the Randolph Board of Health, starting
July 1st.
July 1st. How many hours a week is that going to be?
I think it was 8 hours, was it 8 hours a week, yeah, 8 to 10, yeah.
And that's for Tom and the deputy?
Yeah, so the deputy will be taking
Most of that,
most
okay.
of that responsibility. Tom will certainly oversee it, but it's Chris Singling, who's the deputy who will be doing the property maintenance.
Okay, thank you. Double check. Yeah, that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
And going to town, 151 Mount Pleasant Avenue. Getting back to that dumpster where the truck spring broke itself.
Right.
You remember that dumpster? I said, I wanted to measure it up, and it was actually 19.44 yards of material on there. And then we didn't even have to do it because on the side of the dumpster it said 19 yards itself. When you guys are trucking the material out from the library itself.
So, go ahead, finish your statement, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's 18 yards, that truck carries a tri-axle. So I don't know what kind of cowboy maneuver we're trying to do here. So when you're taking the materials out from the library, that truck's registered 80,000 pounds at 18 yards. You had 19.44 yards on there, so you had a calculation of 42,000 pounds over the limit of that truck.
So what you weren't aware of, the truck wasn't transported with all that. There was a subsequent water main break while the truck was in the yard here, that the back truck, took the materials from the water and then it went into the dumpster while it was there.
But why, that truck really, at that kind of rate right there, and I showed you Monty and Green Outlook, trucks like that, Palazzo, these guys have the similar trucks itself, hook lifts. That's why I kept on asking what size dumpster you guys are getting. You're not answering how many cubic feet itself, because I could tell you yay or nay, it's not gonna work. That was a bad maneuver itself.
Well, that dumpster has to be at least 16 years old.
It doesn't matter what the dumpster is. What I'm trying to say is every DPW guy out here and supervisor itself should know that was a no-no. So in other words, you were 42,000 pounds overweight itself. You destructed the truck itself. Doesn't matter how much it is. And plus you put other parts component at risk itself. But what's amazing is if that truck had ever left this yard, You're talking about the first 1,000 pounds overweight is $500 fines right there. Then for every 1,000 pounds, it's a $100 fine right there. That's $4,500 fines right there if that truck ever went out there.
Which it did.
Which it never did, and it would be stupid if it ever did. I mean, that's gross negligence itself. I mean, we're talking about who authorized to load a truck like that and then break a truck like that? You know, like somebody really is gonna get hurt on this town, or the public's gonna get hurt itself. But just to say, if that truck, they attempted to lift it, let's say they were, but they never would, and it went out on the road and you got caught by the trooper, it's $4,500 fines right there. I mean, we need the leadership itself. That's 19.44 yards of material there. You were trying to carry more than high-load truck in one shot. That truck is supposed to be 6 to 7 yards of material you can carry. I mean, I can tell you right now, that's like a third grader right there. There's no way, there's no excuses why that dumpster was loaded like that, you know? And I think, look, you need more professional itself. And what I had shown you, you can only carry half of that limit itself. You know, for a lot of people, they might think this is nonsense itself, but you know, you're talking, I've been doing this my whole life. One accident, that's stupidity. You're 42,000 pounds overweight. Thank you.
Thanks, Angelo. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, close the meeting to the public. Motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor? All right. No action will be taken after the closed session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.